2 minutes. That's how long it took. One killer whale, alone, off the coast of South Africa. It went down, it found a great white shark, and 2 minutes later it surfaced with the shark's liver in its mouth and carried it past a boat full of scientists. No pod, no help, no struggle worth the name. The most feared predator in the ocean, and it lost in less time than it takes to watch this intro. But this wasn't a freak accident. It's happening on purpose, it's spreading, and the great whites already know it. You've been told the great white shark is the top of the ocean. 20 feet of muscle, around 2 tons, a bite that can shear through bone. For 50 years, the movies have used it as the definition of the thing you don't survive. And for most of the ocean, that's still true. But there is one animal a great white will not fight. One shadow that makes a 20-foot apex predator turn and run for open water and abandon an entire stretch of coastline it used to own. That animal is the orca, the killer whale. And the strangest part? The orca isn't some ancient monster. It's the smiling black and white one from the aquarium posters, the one on the lunchbox. That one is now hunting the great white shark, killing it, taking one specific organ and leaving the rest. The question is why? Why does the ocean's most famous killer surrender to a cartoon whale? It is not the answer you're expecting, and it took scientists years and one specific pair of orcas to figure it out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the obvious answer, that the orca just wins because it's bigger, and we're going to take it apart because it's wrong. Or at least, it's not the real reason. Then we're going to look at the actual weapon the orca uses. It isn't its teeth. It isn't its size. It's something a shark has no defense against at all. We'll get to the one organ thereafter, the 2-minute kill that stunned marine biologists, and the moment an apex predator did something apex predators are never supposed to do. It fled. Let's start with the animal everyone thinks is unbeatable. For a long time, nothing in the open ocean hunted an adult great white shark. Nothing needed to. Look at the numbers. A large great white, Carcharodon carcharias, reaches around 6 meters, roughly 20 feet. That's longer than most cars. It can weigh up to 2 tons. It can hit around 25 miles per hour in a burst, coming up from below, out of the dark, where the sunlight above turns you into a silhouette and you never see it arrive. And the bite. Estimates put it near 4,000 pounds per square inch, enough to crush through cartilage, bone, and shell. It has rows of serrated teeth that replace themselves for life. It smells blood in the water from a distance most animals can't cross before it's too late. That's a predator built with one job, and it's very good at that job. So the ocean gave it respect. Seals, sea lions, smaller sharks, injured whales, all of it. Prey. For a solitary hunter with no pack and no plan, the great white did just fine. It didn't need friends. It didn't need strategy. It had speed, surprise, and that bite. Which is exactly the problem. Because the great white is a machine built to kill things that run in a straight line. It's an ambush artist. Its whole design assumes the prey doesn't understand what's happening until it's over. And that assumption is about to meet something that understands everything. But first, if the great white is this powerful, this armed, this fast, how does anything beat it at all? The easy answer is the one you're already thinking, and it's not quite right. So is it just size? That's the obvious answer. The orca is bigger. Let's actually check it. A large male orca can reach nearly 10 meters, around 32 feet. On average, an orca is about twice as long as a great white and roughly 3 times heavier. The biggest males can weigh 5 to 6 times what a large shark weighs. And the orca is faster. It tops out near 35 miles per hour, and unlike the shark, it can hold that speed. The great white only gets its 25 in short bursts before it has to slow down. So, on paper, bigger, heavier, faster. Case closed, right? Not so fast, because being bigger has never been enough in the ocean. A great white regularly kills things bigger than itself. Orcas themselves hunt blue whales, the largest animal that has ever existed, several times an orca's size. Size alone doesn't decide these fights. If it did, the biggest thing in the water would always win, and the ocean does not work that way. And here's the detail that breaks the "it's just size" theory completely. A lot of the documented kills weren't a whole pod ganging up. In one case, it was a single orca, alone, against a shark built to kill. And it still ended in about 2 minutes. One-on-one. No size advantage from numbers. 2 minutes. So it isn't the size, it isn't the pod. It's something the orca is doing, something the shark, for all its weapons, simply cannot answer. To see it, you have to stop looking at the orca's body and start looking at its brain. Here's the number that should bother you more than the size ever did. The great white hunts alone. It has no pack, no plan, no one to teach it anything. Every great white basically figures out life on its own. It is a brilliant weapon running very old software. The orca is the opposite. Orcas, Orcinus orca, are among the most intelligent animals in the sea. Advanced problem solvers that hunt in coordinated groups. And they teach each other. A clever trick one orca invents doesn't die with that orca. It gets copied, passed down, shared across the family like a piece of technology. Think about what that means. The shark's weapon is its body. The orca's weapon is a strategy that keeps upgrading. And the strategy they use on sharks is almost unfair. Sharks have a hidden flaw called tonic immobility. Flip a shark upside down and it locks up. It goes into a kind of trance, still, helpless, unable to fight or even move properly. It's a glitch built into the animal, and the shark can't switch it off. The orcas found the glitch. They ram the shark, they flip it over, and they hold it upside down. And the most dangerous predator in the ocean just stops. Its 2 tons of muscle, its 4,000 psi bite, its rows of teeth, all of it switched off by an animal smart enough to turn the shark's own body against it. That's the weapon. Not teeth, not size. Information. A brain that found the off switch and taught everyone else where it is. If that just changed how you see the smiling whale on the poster, subscribe. Because what these orcas actually do next is stranger than the kill itself. There's still one thing we can't fully explain, though. Why the orcas go to all this trouble for just one part of the shark. That's next. Once the shark is helpless, you'd expect the orca to just eat it. It doesn't. The orcas aren't after the meat. They're after one organ, the liver. And a great white's liver is not a small snack. It's enormous, roughly 1/3 of the shark's entire body mass. On a 2-ton shark, that's a single organ the size and weight of a small car engine. According to the Natural History Museum in London, it's packed with lipids and oils that make it one of the richest, most energy-dense meals in the entire ocean. So the orcas take that with disturbing precision. They open the shark, remove the liver almost surgically, and leave the rest of the body behind. Scientists keep finding great white carcasses washed up, intact except for one clean, deliberate absence exactly where the liver should be. As reported in outlets from CNN to Scientific American, these animals aren't sloppy killers. They're specialists. They know exactly what they want and exactly where it is. Picture that for a second. You are the ocean's most feared hunter. And to something smarter than you, you're not a monster. You're a container, a delivery vehicle for one high-value organ, opened and emptied in the time it takes to boil an egg. That's a colder kind of terrifying than teeth. Teeth are honest. This is calculated. And here's the mystery scientists are still working on: how the orcas learned with such accuracy that the liver was the prize, and how that knowledge spread, because it did spread. Which brings us to the part that actually changed the ocean. Most of this traces back to 2 orcas. Off the coast of South Africa, near a town called Gansbaai, one of the best places on Earth to see great whites, there's a pair of killer whales the scientists named Port and Starboard, after their collapsed dorsal fins, one leaning each way. Since at least 2017, this pair has been hunting the local great whites and taking their livers. Then, in 2024, it escalated. Researchers documented Starboard doing it alone, killing that roughly 2.5-meter white shark by himself in under 2 minutes, then carrying the liver past a boat as if to make sure someone saw. That solo kill was a first of its kind to be recorded in detail, published in the African Journal of Marine Science. And here's what the great whites did about it. They left. An apex predator, the animal an entire ecosystem was built around, abandoned parts of a coastline it had ruled for as long as anyone had records. The sharks that used to gather at Gansbaai simply stopped showing up. The most feared thing in that water decided the water wasn't worth it anymore, and the whole local food web started shifting because the king walked away. Think about how rare that is. Apex predators don't flee. That's the entire definition of apex. And these ones did. And it isn't only South Africa. Killer whales preying on great whites has now been documented across 3 separate regions of the world's oceans. South Africa, Australia, confirmed even by genetic evidence, and off California and the Farallon Islands. Different orcas, same idea. As if the technique is quietly being invented or shared again and again. Some orcas have even started ramming and sinking sailboats off the coast of Spain, a completely different behavior, spreading the same way. Nobody taught them that. They taught each other. The ocean's smartest animal is running experiments, and it's winning. So step back and look at what actually happened here. For 50 years, we told a story where the great white shark sat at the top of the ocean, unchallenged, The final answer to what's the scariest thing down there? And that story was basically true, right up until something smarter showed up and quietly proved that raw power was never the top of the pyramid. Intelligence was. That's the real lesson in the water. The most dangerous thing in the ocean isn't the biggest bite or the fastest body. It's the animal that can learn, adapt, and teach. The one that finds the off switch and passes the knowledge on. And that should land a little close to home. Because there's exactly one other animal on this planet whose whole strategy is outthink everything bigger and stronger than you, then share the trick so it never dies. You're related to it more than you'd like. You're doing it right now, watching this. The great white didn't lose because it got weak. It lost because the rules changed, from strength to strategy, and it had no way to keep up. Here's the thought that stays with you. The orcas didn't evolve a new weapon to do this. They didn't grow bigger teeth or a stronger jaw over 1,000,000 years. They just had an idea. And ideas move faster than evolution ever could. A shark takes ages to change. An orca changes its mind in an afternoon. And by next season, the whole family knows. Somewhere off a coastline right now, the ocean's old king is keeping its distance from a black and white shape it can't outfight and can't outthink. And that shape is still learning.